Alright, we're going to start off giving all praises to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. YAHAWAH been the name of the Heavenly Father. YAHAWASHI been the name of His only begotten Son, who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ. We're going to get into the topic of YAHAWASHI, so-called Black Messiah, coming to destroy America. Now, I want to start off with Isaiah 63. It's a major verse that they try to gaslight and act like he came for the nation of Edom, and he never did. It's Isaiah 63, starting at verse 1. It says, "Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from BOZRAH?" Now, I always tell the story, BOZRAH, you got a BOZRAH, Connecticut. In BOZRAH, Connecticut, it was given because some Edomite walked up into the courtroom and he had on a red outfit, so they claim that that's why they named the place BOZRAH. But it's showing you how the Lord did that for a reason, because man's goings are of the Lord. He caused them to call that place BOZRAH, which is close to the Empire State, New York City. The New York is like the stronghold of America, like BOZRAH was the stronghold of Edom. It's Isaiah 63 in verse 1. It says, "Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from BOZRAH? This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength, I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save." Now, when you go into Revelation 19, it mirrors this account. Revelation 19, starting at verse, I'm going to start at verse 11. It says, "And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he do judge and make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and his head were many crowns, and on his head was many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself, and he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of God." So this is the identical thing what happened in Isaiah 63. See, it says he was glorious in his apparel. When I get the next verse, verse 2, it says, "Wherefore art thou red in your apparel?" See, his clothing was red. Okay. And then he says in verse 3, he says, "I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me, for I will tread them in my anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment, for the day of vengeance is in my heart, and the year of my redeem is come." So you go back to Revelation 19, and he says 19 and 13, and he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood. And this is why his clothes was dipped in blood, because he was in there coming for Edom. See, he's stumping them like grapes. And he says he's making war. Now, it started off saying in verse 11 that he was on the white horse. This is the person that's on the white horse. And I'm going to go to the climax. Let me go to the climax in verse 19. He says, and I saw the beast. So this beast is talking about Edom. See, the situation haven't changed. The prophet Isaiah and Apostle John were seeing the same situation. They weren't seeing two different situations. It says, and I saw the beast. That's Edom and BOZRAH, Babylon the Great America. It says, and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. So they're going to be ready to fight YAHAWASHI, and it's showing you who he coming for. Now we got another one. Let's get Jeremiah. Jeremiah 49, starting at verse 22. It says, behold, he shall come up and fly as the eagle. That's why we have a bald eagle as the national bird. And it's not just the national bird for America. Germany, Russia, all these so-called EU nations use that bird, the eagle. Now, it says, he shall come up and fly as an eagle and spread his wings over BOZRAH. And at that day shall the heart of the mighty men of Edom, see, that's their military, be as the heart of a woman in her pain. This is the same thing in Luke 21 and 25, I think. Let's go to that. Luke 21. And mind you, Luke wrote his book after Apostle Paul. After Yahawashi had died and went to the right hand of the Lord. Now this is Luke 21 and 20. We'll start at 26. It says, men's heart fell in them for fear. See, that's the men of Edom. And for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. See, he coming to BOZRAH and Edom. It says, which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. The powers of heaven is the nation of Edom. 27, it says, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. See, he's going to fly as an eagle coming into BOZRAH. This is how he coming and who he coming for. Because they want to gaslight these scriptures. Let me get Isaiah 66. Isaiah 66, starting at verse 15, it says, for behold, the Lord will come with fire and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury and his rebukes with flames of fire. And see, those flames of fire is going to be those nuclear missiles also coming for Babylon. Verse 16, it says, for by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. So this is he going to be having blood on his garments because that's representation of all these mighty men of Edom that he gonna be slaying. See, and it named them specifically. So when you go into Habakkuk, let's get Habakkuk. This is Habakkuk chapter 3. And I want to get those chariots. He says, chariots shall come like a whirlwind. Verse 8, it says, was the Lord displeased? This is Habakkuk 3, chapter 3, verse 8. Was the Lord displeased against the rivers? Was your anger against the rivers? Was your wrath against the sea? Those seas represent nations. It says, where we at? Against the sea that thou did ride upon your horses and your chariots of salvation. So he gonna be coming in great glory on chariots. That's what them clouds was. See, he was gonna be coming in with clouds with great glory. Those are chariots he coming in. And I'm gonna get to the point in verse 16. He says, when I heard, my belly trembled, my lips quivered at the voice. Rottenness entered into my bones. I trembled in myself. Okay, that I might rest in the day of trouble. This that tribulation. See that great tribulation, when YAHAWASHI coming back to save the elect. It says, when he come up unto the people, he will invade them with his troops. See, he gonna come with these chariots and the angels and the Israelites to invade this Babylon the Great, America, and these other nations. Now I'm gonna get the I'm gonna get how he's adding these Israelites into the fight. He's not just coming by himself. This is Jeremiah 50. Jeremiah 51. And this, I'm gonna get the context of when the Israelites coming for this battle. See, it's gonna be in a certain place. This Jeremiah 50. Let me get 50. Jeremiah 50 first, and I'm gonna get 33 to get the context. It's Jeremiah 50 and 33. It says, thus says the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. So they're in a place, they're in Babylon, that refused to let them go. The northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. It's not talking about ancient Babylon, because the northern kingdom never went into ancient Babylon. They went to Assyria. They was already gone. Now, here go another one that backs that up. Verse 42 of Jeremiah 50. It says, they shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel and will not show mercy. Their voice shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses. Every one put in array like a man to the battle against you, O daughter of Babylon. So this is talking about the daughter of Babylon, not ancient Babylon. See, a daughter is something that comes after the parent. Now, when you go into 51, you're still talking about Babylon. Verse 1, it says, this Jeremiah 51 and verse 1. Thus says the Lord, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me a destroying wind. See, that's them nuclear missiles hitting Babylon the Great, and all you're going to see is fire and wind. Now, so this is the context. Babylon being destroyed. Now you jump down to verse 20. This is Jeremiah 51 and 20. It says, thou art my battle axe and weapons of war. Talking about the Israelites. He says, for with thee will I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms. See, the kingdom of Edom, the kingdom of the Edomites, which is the EU, NATO, the so-called white man, the American military. See, these are the people he coming for. It says, with thee will I destroy kingdoms, and with thee will I break in pieces the horse and his rider, and with thee will I break in pieces the chariot and his rider. So he's going to be destroying their military. He going to use who? The Israelites. They going to be his weapons of war. Let's get that Ezekiel. He going to the hardcore scriptures to show how prophecy tells you that Babylon the Great is the target for YAHAWASHI. He's not coming to bless America. See, he's talking about God bless America. That ain't what he's coming to do. He's coming to destroy this wicked kingdom. And I'm going to get that one next. This is Ezekiel 25, starting at verse 14. It says, and I will lay my vengeance upon Edom. See, this is what he said in Isaiah 63. He gonna lay his vengeance on Edom, the Edomites. It says, by the hand of my people Israel. Okay, and what he said, vengeance, this is the time of vengeance. This is the, I don't want to butcher it, 63, he says, it's 63 and 4 of Isaiah. For the day of vengeance is in my heart. So he showing you who this vengeance is going to be going on to in Ezekiel. He says, it says, by the hand of my people Israel, and they shall do in Edom according to my anger and according to my fury, and they shall know my vengeance, says the Lord God. See, he finna put the Israelites up, and they gonna be battling these Edomites, destroying their kingdom. I'm gonna jump down to 17. It's Ezekiel 25 and 17. And I will execute great vengeance upon them with furious rebukes, and they shall know that I am the Lord when I shall lay my vengeance upon them. See, this is why the Macronites wanted to get rid of the scriptures. Oh no, that old God in the so-called Old Testament, because they didn't want to come up with this Old Testament crap in 144 AD. The Macronites, or whatever he want to call himself, talking about the Paul is the leader of the new God, of the God of Jesus in the New Testament. In the Old Testament, that's a whole nother God, a vengeful, hateful God, see, that YAHAWASHI coming to save us from, which is a bold-faced lie. But the Christians regurgitating that mess that he was saying way back in 144 AD. Now, let's get it in the gospel, because he said the same thing in the gospel. This is let me get it in Luke chapter 4, because they show how it's in the so-called New Testament and ain't nothing changed. Luke chapter 4, What did he say he gonna come and do? What's the good news according to Yahawashah, not according to these Christian churches, man. The Catholic, the Pope, not according to these people with false doctrine. This is Luke chapter 4. Luke chapter 4, start at verse 17. He says, and there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Isaiah. And when he opened the book, he found the place where it was written. So Yahawashi went straight to Isaiah 61. He letting you know this is what the Spirit of the Lord is causing him to do. Now let's go to Isaiah 61, but I want to get right to the point and read verse 2. It says, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all them that mourn, to appoint unto them that mourn in Zion. So he's not coming just for some believers, man. He's trying to bring vengeance for the nation of Israel, man. Because they was trying to fight the Israelites and their God. It wasn't just, oh, we gonna fight their God. See, we just gonna fight them. We don't like them people over there. No, they trying to fight them and their God. Like, what was it? The movie, what's the man name? The House of David, the little TV show they brought up, and they show how Goliath was out there taunting the Israelites. Where's the mighty men of Israel? Where y'all at? Come on out and fight me. See, he taunting everybody, and he said, y'all God ain't gonna save y'all from me. Now, let's get some more on this vengeance. And I'm thinking in Luke, it talks about something. Luke 21. Oh yeah, let me get that Revelation chapter 1. See, he say who he coming back for, because there's a certain people that he on a mission to get. And the Edomites always been harassing the Israelites, man. This ain't something new. They've been harassing the Israelites forever. But this Revelation chapter 1, starting at verse 7 to get right to the point, it says, behold, he cometh with clouds. That's them chariots, like in Habakkuk 3 and chapter verse 8, where it says the chariots of salvation. It says, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him. Who pierced him? See, the Edomites, Edom, the so-called white man. They the one pierced him. See, the Israelites say, man, we can't do nothing to him. See, that's against our law to try to kill somebody, man. That's against our law to punish this man or do anything to him. They had to give him to the Edomites. He says, and they also which pierce him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. See, they gonna know he coming to destroy these people. He coming to get vengeance on their behind. And let's get that in 2 Thessalonians. 2 Thessalonians chapter 1. This is 2 Thessalonians, the first chapter, verse 6. It says, Don't worry. It says, and to you who trouble rest with us, when the Lord Yahawashai shall be revealed from heaven with his mighty angels in flaming fire, taking vengeance on them that know not the Most High. The people that pierced his behind, man. The Roman Edomites, the so-called white man. See, this is who he's coming for. It says, and that obey not the gospel of our Lord Yahawashai Mashiach. Now, first of all, this gonna be them 2/3 that want to choose these Edomites. See, they gonna choose the image of their enemy and their oppressor, and it's gonna blind they behind to the whole situation. They being deceived, believing that it don't matter, but it's a major trick. But let's go to the beginning of when the war started between, or when the war was declared, that it wasn't going to stop. That it was going to be all the way in the end. These two nations going to be fighting each other, going to war. This is Exodus chapter 17, and I'm going to get 14. It says, and the Lord said unto Moses, write this for a memorial in a book, and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua, for I will utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. So he planning on getting these Edomites. It says that Moses built an altar and called the name of it Yahawah Nisi, for he said, because the Lord hath sworn that the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. So he made a promise and swore that he gonna be fighting these Edomites from generation to generation. See, and he been fighting them, and he getting revenge from all these wars. Let's get at that Psalms 137, because they've been in the cut harassing the Israelites, man. Now, in that time, they were just coming out of Egypt, out of that major slavery, and who was waiting on them? The Edomites. Now, here go another time. I think they either coming out of Babylon or something, and the Edomites is waiting on them. This is to get right to the point. Psalms 137, verse 7, it says, remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon. See, that's what he said in Jeremiah 51. Daughter of Babylon. It says, who ought to be destroyed, happy shall he be that reward you as you have served us. What is that? Reward you as you have served us. Revenge. Happy shall he be that get revenge on your behalf. See? Revenge for the slavery and the atrocity that these people is putting on the Israelites. That's a major one. I think it's another one. Zechariah. It kind of addressed the location of Babylon, the daughter of Babylon. It's Zechariah chapter 2, verse 1. Get in. No, I don't got no vengeance in verse 1. Well, hold on. Verse 1, chapter 1, Salaki. Zechariah chapter 1, it tells you who it's talking about in verse verse 8. It says, and I saw by night, and behold, it's Zechariah 1 and 8. I saw by night, and behold, a man riding upon a red horse. See, Edom means red. So that horse is talking about the nation of Edom. And horse means power or rulership. It says, a man riding upon a red horse, and he stood among the myrtle trees that were in the bottom. See, Negroes is at the bottom. It says, and beneath him there were red horses, speckled and white. See, they got speckles on their face, and they white and they red. See, it describes the people. So when you jump over to Zechariah chapter 2, verse 7, well, verse 6, it says, ho, ho, come forth and flee from the land of the north. The land of the north is talking about North America in the northern hemisphere. See, Babylon the Great America. It says, the land of the north, says the Lord, for I have spread you abroad as the four winds of the heaven, and said of the heaven, says the Lord. Verse 7. Deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwell with the daughter of Babylon. There you go with Psalms 137. O children of Israel, O daughter of Babylon. Same thing with Jeremiah 51. The daughter of Babylon. See, this is who the Israelites is going to be a weapon of war, a battle axe against these Edomites. And it identified the Edomites in chapter 1. Now, let me get Joel. Joel goes in it just talks about the whole slave trade operation. This Joel 3, starting at verse 1, it says, for behold, in those days and at that time when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. Okay. He says, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel. See, he pleading for a specific people, and he gonna say why he pleading for them. He didn't say, oh, he's pleading for Israel, and they're gonna try to do some kind of replacement theology and throw somebody else in there. Which once he described why he's doing it, that's showing you he's doing it for the specific people because it was done to them. It wasn't done to a Christian church or a Muslim mosque. It says, who they have scattered among the nations. When you go to Zechariah, it talks about that red horse. See, red freckles, red face, pale face. See, they were the ones scattering the Israelites. It says, who they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And they have cast lots for my people. That's an auction block. See, you on the auction block talking about sold to the highest bidder. See, a wank and a buck. I got 13 bucks for sale. It says, and have given a boy for an harlot. See, they're a bunch of perverts, man. That's why they got pervert clubs all over the place. It says, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. See, that's who was picking all the sugar cane, making the rum, making the liquor. See, for these jokers to get drunk. They drinking like 7 gallons of liquor a day, man. Here in Babylon the Great America. Verse 4, it says, yeah, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine? Now that Tyre and Zidon, I went in on that today because when Herod, the Edomite, the so-called white man, Herod, he up there talking about, he was doing something on his throne. So the Hamites sitting around talking about, oh, he's got a voice like God. See, Tyree and Zidon, he got a voice like God. See, and the angel came and smoked his behind, and maggots and worms been eating up his body. It says, O Tyre and Zidon and all the coasts of Palestine. That's these Hamite Africans, see, with the transatlantic slave trade, with the door of no return, chaining up 300 Negroes a pop to give them to the so-called white men. Then you got the sub-Saharan slave trade, where these Arabs still doing the thing to this day. See, they didn't never stop the slavery, man. But we don't know what's going on over there in the country. It says, will ye render me a recompense? And if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head. See, that's that vengeance that Yahawashi coming with. See, he coming for a recompense. It says, because ye have taken my silver and my gold and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. And the children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecians, that they may remove them far from their border. So you weren't selling them and they stayed in their land. You took them to a whole nother land that's far away. Babylon the Great, America. It says, behold, I will raise them out of the place whither you have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. So that's going to be vengeance. Now, who are these Grecians he's talking about? He identified them in verse 19. He says, Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. So this is why he's coming for them. Now that's going to take me to Ezekiel. Ezekiel 35. When he says shed innocent blood, it's Ezekiel 35. And let's start with verse 4. Because it's about Yahawashi coming to get revenge on these Babylonian Americans, which are from the nation of Edom. It says, verse 4, I will lay your cities waste, and you shall be desolate, and you shall know that I am the Lord. So any city that these Edomites got, we're going to lay it waste. And Babylon is one of their greatest cities. That's why it's called it BOZRAH. And I'm going to get Isaiah 34 to show how we're going to lay it waste. But verse 5 in Ezekiel 35, it says, because you have had a perpetual hatred, that's an everlasting hatred. It says, and have shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. So he gonna get revenge because of what they was doing, shedding the blood of the Israelites. Verse 6, it says, therefore, as I live, now this is one of the reasons his blood, these Edomites' blood is going to be on his garments. It says, therefore, as I live, this is Ezekiel 35 and 6, I will prepare unto thee blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou have not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate. See, he seeing how he gonna come for Edom and coming for BOZRAH. Now let's get this Isaiah 34, because he gonna show you how he gonna destroy their cities. This Isaiah 34, I'm gonna start with verse 2. It says, for the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. Now, I heard one of these guys, he's talking about, he look like he's from one of the Arab nations. He say they keep talking about this democracy and peace, but they selling everybody weapons. They creating weapons and selling them to everybody, arming all these nations, talking about they want some peace, to make some peace, man. It says, he have utterly destroyed them, he have delivered them to the slaughter. Okay, and this is how he gonna destroy Babylon the Great America. I'm gonna start with verse, when I get verse 3, go into that blood that's gonna be on his garments when he comes to Babylon the Great America. It says, their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. See? And all the hosts, and that host goes for armies. That's why it's Lord of hosts or Lord of armies. And all their hosts or armies of heaven shall be dissolved. And the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll. And all their hosts shall fall down. Now, when you go into Revelation 6, that host can also mean angels, and it can mean their army. It says, all their hosts shall fall down as a leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a fallen fig from off the fig tree. Verse 5. It says, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven. That sword represents a weapon, a nuclear weapon. It says, behold, it shall come down. See, that weapon is going to come down. It shall come down upon Idumea. See, Idumea is Edom, BOZRAH, the so-called white man. It says, upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment. See, he gonna judge they stinking behind. See, verse 6, it says, the sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams, for the Lord have a sacrifice in BOZRAH, that's America, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. See, he have a great slaughter here in Babylon the Great America. And this going along with that Luke, talking about vengeance. It's going along with 61 of Isaiah, talking about vengeance, 63. See, all of these saying the same thing. Revelation 19, see, he getting vengeance on these nations, and mainly Edom, Idumea. I'm going to jump down to verse 8 to get to the point. It says, for it is the day of the Lord's vengeance. This is Isaiah 34, verse 8. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance, and the year of recompense for the controversy of Zion. See, the blood that they've been shedding when the Israelites was in captivity. This is what the vengeance is all about. He's getting the recompense, which is a righteous thing when it comes to God. Now let me go back to Luke. Let's get Luke one more time. This is Luke, let's start at let me start at the beginning. This is Luke 18, Luke chapter 18. It says, and he spake a parable unto them to this end, that men ought always to pray and not to faint, saying, there was in a city a judge, and that city is Babylon the Great America, which feareth not God. See, they don't fear God in this place. They walk around butt naked. See, it says, which feareth not God, neither regardeth man. See, they don't care about what nobody got to say. See, America make me free. I can do whatever I want to do. It says, and there was a widow in that city, and she came unto him, saying, avenge me of my adversary. See, get some revenge on my slave master. Get some revenge on these elites that's running this system through the CIA and the FBI, see, and every other kind of institute full of racism and hypocrisy and what you call it, discrimination. It says, avenge me of my adversary. And he would not for a while. So we've been here 350 plus years, and the captivity been going on a long time, but it's not going to go on forever. He says, and he would not for a long time, for a while, Salaki. It says, but afterwards he said within himself, though I fear not God nor regard man. This is talking about the people of this city, Babylon. Yet because this widow troubled me out, Salakia. Yeah, that's now it's about verse 5 is talking about the Lord. Yet because this widow troubled me, I will avenge her, lest by her continual coming she weary me. And the Lord said, hear what the unjust judge said, and shall not God avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto him, though he bear long with them? I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, the Son of Man cometh, when the Son of Man cometh, see, he coming for revenge, for his elect. Not no Christian church and all that Jehovah wickedness and Muslim mosque. It says, shall he find faith on the earth? So this is what the faith is all about. Is he going to come back with the vengeance? Now let's get that in Revelation. Revelation 13. Revelation 13, starting at verse 9, it says, if any man have an ear, let him hear. Meaning, anybody understand. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. See, he that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints, because the saints went into captivity. Everybody didn't go into captivity. See, everybody didn't get kicked out of their homeland and went into captivity in somebody else's land. So I don't know how these people think they some saints. They can be a holy nation. You're not the holy nation that went into slavery, man. The saints, they got the faith of getting revenge on their enemies. Let me get that in Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy chapter 30. I'm going to start with verse 1. Deuteronomy 30 and 1. It says, and it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee. What's coming upon the Israelites? The blessing and the curse. So they're going to go through both of them. It says, which I have set before you, and you shall call them to mind among all the nations. That means you already in the curse. Because the curse puts you in all these other nations. The blessing puts you in your homeland, ruling over all the nations. So you in the curse, you're going to call it to mind when you dealing in the curse. You in slavery. It says, and thou call them to mind, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whether the Lord have driven you. See, put you on a slave ship and got your enemy to take you away to a whole nother land. It says, and shall return upon the Lord your God, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee today, thou and thy children, with all your heart and with all your soul, that then the Lord your God will turn your captivity and have compassion upon you, and will return and gather you from all the nations, whether the Lord have scattered you. See, they gonna call to mind in their captivity, when they done got scattered, not when they're in their homeland blessed. They gonna call to mind, oh, you know what? We was cursed. This is a curse. No, they gonna be in the curse and they gonna call it to mind. What the blessing means and what the curse means, that's Deuteronomy 28. They're gonna get into Deuteronomy 28. That's gonna be the whole conversation of the whole earth. Everybody analyzing Deuteronomy 28. Nobody was analyzing Deuteronomy 28 before the Israelites start to get in high numbers and start taking over the internet and start proclaiming the good news throughout all these nations through the World Wide Web. See, you never heard a Christian running his mouth about Deuteronomy 28. So it's not talking, they can't replace no Israelites. And they the leaders. They making the freaking Christian dogma. They got the theologian schools and they done broke everything now. You got to go to their school and learn from them. See, you know it's a lie. Say, we got to learn from you and you the slave master? Come on, man. So they gonna call it to mind in the land of their captivity. Let's get that let's get into Acts first. Peter said this is what the prophets was talking about. This is Acts chapter 2, starting at Acts chapter 2, verse 14. It says, but Peter, standing up with the 11, lifted up his voice and said unto them, ye men of Judea. See, wasn't no proselytes like the Jehovah Witnesses say. It was the men of Judea. It says, and all ye that dwell at Jerusalem, be this known unto you, and hearken to my words. Jump down to 16. It said, but this is that which was spoken by the prophet Joel, and it shall come to pass in the last days, says the Most High, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. See, they gonna understand that Deuteronomy 28 is a prophecy, talking about their slave trade, talking about their captivity. It says, and your young men shall see visions. See, oh, this is what we going through. Deuteronomy 28. It says, and your old men shall dream dreams. Here go the slaves part. Verse 18, he says, and my servants, and on my servants and on my handmaid. That's talking about bondman and bondwoman. You as a whole slave. See, they emancipated you from the private sector to the public sector, to the governmental sector. The private people own you. A private person can own you. Not only the government can own you. It says, on my servants, and when you go into the Greek, that's what that servants and handmaids gonna mean. It ain't gonna switch up just because it's the New Testament. And he quoting the Old Testament, so in the Hebrew, it means bondman and bondwoman too. It says, I will pour out in those days of my spirit. So on the slave woman, on the slave man, they gonna get the Holy Spirit. Ain't gonna be no random Holy Spirit. It says, I will pour out in those days of my spirit and they shall prophesy. So they're going to go back to Deuteronomy 28 and say, oh, this prophecy, and it's talking about us. We was the ones on the slave ship. We was the ones, or we the ones. Let's get Deuteronomy 28 and 48. That's the whole, in a nutshell. And is it 28? Yeah, 28. And let me get 46 too, because they love to act like it happened one time. It already happened. You talking about something that they went into captivity so many times. Say, okay, let's see how long it's supposed to last. This is Deuteronomy 28:46. It says, and they shall be upon you for a sign and for a wonder, and upon your seed forever. See, you always going to be going through these curses. These curses ain't going to go away until Yahawah shall come and save you. Now I'll jump down to verse 48. It says, therefore you shall serve your enemies. You're going to be under an enemy government. See, an enemy Congress, what you call the Senate. See, they're going to be your enemies plotting on your downfall. With their CIA and their FBI putting drugs in your neighborhood, making movies to tell you a bunch of lies. It says, therefore shall you serve your enemies, which the Lord shall send against you, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. You're not going to have a business that's going to prosper. See, you're not going to have some empire, no enterprise that's going to prosper to all your people. You're going to be under their businesses, under their corporation, under their government. It says, 48. And in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon your neck. See, I'm going to put a yoke of iron. You want to be stiff-necked and don't want to listen. Guess what? He going to put a yoke of iron on your neck with some bells on it. So you try to run off that plantation, he going to hear you from a mile away. It says, until he have destroyed thee. See, and you ain't going to remember. You're not going to remember your identity. See, because I'm going to get him to tell you all kind of lies. He going to put up white Jesus, and you ain't going to know who you was. See, we going to hide all the records under the Vatican, in the, what do you call it, the things, catacomb. Under the catacomb, we going to hide all the pictures. See, Putin just brought out the picture. He brought the picture on the scene. He said, I got something for these Americans. I'll bring out the pictures on y'all behind and show it that these Israelites was a bunch of Negroes. It's, what is it, 48? 49, it says, and the Lord shall bring a nation against you from far. See, we going to get in a boat, and we going to go all the way over there to come down there from Spain to the west coast of Africa and start buying you Negroes. It says, the Lord shall bring a nation against you from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. See, there go that eagle again, representing the so-called white man, the bald eagle, the American bald eagle. It says, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Verse 50. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young. See, the baby's gonna be in the cotton field. Them old women gonna be in the cotton field picking cotton. They gonna be in the sugar cane field chopping down them sugar cane and whatever other kind of field, picking grapes. That's what they got the Northern Kingdom doing now. See, they over there in California and on the West Coast picking almonds, picking grapes, pistachios. See, they picking all kind of crap. They doing the field work. And let me get some of the hardcore since we get into these curses. 16 and 17. which is the foundation. They make it real plain. The Deuteronomy 28 and 16, it says, "Cursed shall thou be in the city." You're going to be in the project, in the dope bowl, as we call it. You're going to be in the hood, the ghetto. It says, "Cursed shall thou be in the field." You're going to be in the cotton field, the sugarcane field, the tobacco field, the straw field, the pecan field. See, you're going to be in the janitor, the low end jobs throughout your whole captivity. 2025, the captivity about over. It don't matter what you're doing now. But it's forever, so it's going down right now. That's where them Negroes is. It says, verse 17, curse shall be your basket in your store. Like I was saying earlier, you don't got no stores that you finna go to. Just like they had all these hair stores and these hair products, beauty supply stores pop up. They talking about, oh, the women is starting to get businesses and stuff. They careers is shooting to the rocket. What Trump say? Okay, we gonna have a war with China and everybody gotta shut the business down. Now a bunch of Negroes gotta shut their business down and can't sell no beauty products. See? Because they got control over the situation. You ain't got no business, man. You just supplying, you just paying taxes. You just helping this man pay some taxes. Or get some tax money from your behind. It says, curse shall be your basket. That's your banking account. Like you got to go to them. Let me get 44. You got to go to them to get a banking account. That's why Kanye West, we can shut your banking account down, Kanye. We don't care if you got $1 billion or not. Oh, you got $1 billion, huh? Okay. This is verse 48, Deuteronomy 28. It says, he shall lend to you, and you shall not lend to him. So you're not going to open up no bank. And all these talking about it's a black bank, that's a black lie. They got 51% of shares in a corporation. You ain't got no ownership of nothing, man. They just saying that the Negroes in that situation is over 50%. That's all they saying. Ain't no freaking black bank. Now, and then it got Esau face on it. That's why YAHAWASHI say, who image is on the money? And that was a major statement when he said that. Who image is on this money, man? While y'all talking all this stuff about taxes, who image is on the darn money? See, it ain't you. It ain't you Israelites in the ghetto talking about you got a business and you got $1 billion. You $1 billion live. His face on the money. How you gonna have $1 billion? And let me see if I can find that verse. Because that was one of the major verses. How should I say, man, y'all talking all this noise, but look at the money. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to find out. Now, let me go into this vengeance situation still, because YAHAWASHI coming for these Americans. This is Daniel chapter 2, verse 44. He says, in the days of these kings, see, in the days of these people that's ruling with their face on the money, see, with their face on the dollar, they running the bank, the Federal Reserve. See, in 1913, all of them gonna get together and say, okay, we're gonna get this Federal Reserve and run the whole world through that. That's why you got a global dollar, a global currency, a petrodollar. He says, in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom. So while they in rulership, we coming for they behind. It says, which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people. And nobody else gonna get this kingdom. They're not gonna join a Christian church and say, you know what? We ruling right now, but we gonna rule again with y'all. No, you're not gonna rule with us. It says, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. So all these government is gonna get ruled over by the Israelites. They not gonna get no kingdom, man. Now, let's get it in Daniel chapter 7. Daniel chapter 7 and verse, where is it? Verse 14. It says, and there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all the people, nations, and tongues should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. So is he just gonna get the kingdom by himself? No. Verse 18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom. So he gonna get the kingdom and the saints. And his people. Not going to no freaking church. A bunch of church. So you go to Jehovah Witness church. Jehovah Witness got a whole bunch of white folks up there talking about they the 144,000. You a lie, man. It says, verse 18, shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Let's get these saints real quick. Let's get who the saints are and how they gonna take this kingdom. This is Psalm 149, verse 1. It says, praise ye the Lord, sing unto the Lord a new song, and his praise in the congregation of saints. Who is these saints? Let Israel rejoice in him that made him. Let the children of Zion be joyful in their king. That's who the saints are. The saints ain't some religious people, man. It says, I'm going to jump now to the point. It says, verse 5, let the saints be joyful in glory. Because see, they're going to take the kingdom. They gonna be his weapons of war. They battle axes, destroying Babylon the Great America. It says, let them sing aloud upon their bed. Let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen. See how the heathen gonna go to church talking about, I've got faith, shut up. He gonna put vengeance on you and your whole nation. It says, execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishment upon the people, to bind their kings with chains. They kings going in the chain. They're not gonna be able to join a church. See, and say, no, you know what? The kings over there, they went into chains under the Israelites, but we over here being good with the Israelites. And you a lie. All of them going in the chain. To bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Who? Israel and the children of Zion. Not no freaking heathen and no Gentiles, man. They keep talking about a Gentile. Let me get that. I want to add that to my weapon clause. They keep running their mouth talking about a Gentile, man. When you go into the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, their own people done created the mess. And look up nation. Don't look up Gentiles. Don't look up heathen. Look up nation. Because nation's going to be the real deal. It's going to tell you how they trying to lie with these words. And nation means tribes too. It don't just mean people and some heathen. This is a nation in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary. And Zondervan make all these Bibles out here. Here we go. It says nation usually means Gentiles and heathen, but a few times refers to the Israelites. So a few times it refers to the Israelites. Let me read that again. It says nation usually means Gentiles and heathen, and a few times refers to the Israelites. So they already know, and that's the beginning of the definition too. Because they know that's the main part of the definition. That it refers to Israelites, and they don't want you to know that it refers to the Israelites. They want to just make you think that Gentile just means non-Israelite off the rip. As soon as they say it, he went to the Jew and the Gentile. And what happened to the other tribe? Jew ain't but one tribe, man. Jew is one tribe, and they talking about these other nations over the other tribe. So Issachar is gone, and they gonna let some heathens come in there. You a heathen and a Gentile lie. And I'm gonna get that tribe too in Acts. Where's that? Acts 10 and 22. It says, and they said, Cornelius the centurion, a just man and one that feared God, and of good report. See, why would he have a good report with the Israelites? And Peter said, I don't even deal with these people, man. It says, a good report among all the nations of the Jews. See what that word nation means? Ethnos. So why are you using ethnos when it comes to ethnos of the Jews? That thing means tribes. And that word Jew, that's a new operation too, man. They don't just come up with all this stuff, but ethnos do not mean just no nation only, and it definitely don't mean no non-Israelite. It just means a tribe, nation, and then when you go into kindred in all them verses, Revelation 7 and 9, they're talking about a kindred. Kindred is going for tribes and the children of Israel. That's what kindred means. And you go into what? Revelation 5. It's talking about kindred. That's talking about the tribes of Israel. That's why that 144,000, they can learn the song of vengeance. See that? Because what King David said, they're going to learn a new song. And they're going to sing that song upon their bed. That new song is going to be that the Israelites is going to give vengeance on the heathen and have punishments on these people. Now let me get YAHAWASHI in the Apocrypha. And he thought to come for these people. This is 2nd Ezra, what is it, 13 or 14? 2nd Ezra 13, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna start with verse 3. This 2nd Ezra 13 and 3, it says, and I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. Now what did Habakkuk say in Habakkuk 3 and 16? I trembled at my bones. See, I was trembling when I seen him come with his chariots of salvation, with his troops was invading this Babylon and Great America. I went to trembling. This verse 4, 2nd Ezra. It says, and when whosoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burnt that heard his voice, like as the earth felleth when it fills the fire. So he was shooting out fire, man. He coming like what he said in Isaiah 66 and 15. He coming like coming with fire, with his chariots like a whirlwind. Verse 5, it says, and after this I behold, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. That's what Revelation 19 and 4 was talking about. 4 down to 19, where it says that the kings of the earth and the beasts and their armies is going to try to come for YAHAWASHI when he comes. It says, verse 6, this is 2nd Ezra 13 and 6. But I beheld, and lo, he had graven himself a great mountain. See, that chariot, like on Independence Day, it looked like a great mountain in the sky. He says, and flew upon it. So he flying on something that looked like a great mountain. He flying in the sky. He like on a, he flying, he probably look like he on a surf, well, I ain't gonna say that. They know it's YAHAWASHI, man. It says, where is it? 13 and 6. He flew upon it, but I would have seen the region or place where the hill was graven, and I could not. So he could, if it was a real mountain, he would have saw where it was coming from. But it wasn't connected to nothing. It was in the air, hovering. Verse 8, it says, and after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were so afraid, and yet durst fight. That's what in Jeremiah 49 and 22 it says that the mighty men of Edom was scared like a woman in her pain. Woman in travail, like she's pregnant. Like a pregnant woman. That's how they're going to be acting. Verse 9, it says, and lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand nor his sword, nor any instrument of war. So he was shooting straight fire at Abraham. He says, but this verse 10, but only I saw that he sent out his mouth, he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempest, and they were all mixed together. The blast of fire, the flaming breath, the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which were prepared to fight, and burnt them up every one. So this is how Babylon was described to go down. Now I'm going to start with Revelation 18 and 18. It says, and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what city is like unto this great city? Okay. So what city is like Babylon in Great America? You're not going to find one. Jump down to verse 21. It says, a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. So when they say here in 2nd Ezra 13 and 11, it says, and they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which were prepared to fight, and burnt them up every one. So YAHAWASHI coming with those chariots, and he's going to be shooting lasers and fire at they behind, man. Now, let's see here. Okay, yeah, get Peter. This is second. Let me get 2 Peter 3. 2 Peter 3. I'm gonna start with verse 7. In 2 Peter 3 and 7, it says, "But the heavens and the earth, which are now by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto fire." See, fire is gonna be coming out and destroying Babylon the Great. It says, let's see how the fire is gonna get here though. It says, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. So we've been seeing the same vision about YAHAWASHI coming to Babylon the Great America throughout all the prophets. It says, I'm going to jump down to 10. It says, "But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise." What caused a great noise, man? A nuclear missile. This is how he gonna be blowing this place up. He gonna let them nukes come from Russia and all Iran, China, North Korea. They gonna come here and blow this place up. The other NATO members, they gonna be shooting all the missiles that they got to blow this place up. And they gonna be dropping it. Boom, boom, boom. That's gonna be the great noise. It says, "And the elements shall melt with fervent heat, and the earth also, and the works that are therein shall be burnt up." Let me get that Malachi. See, this same situation is prophesied many times. Just like with Noah, he sent Noah out and said, "Warn these people, man. I'm not just going to let it rain and flood and just kill everybody, and I ain't going to give them a warning." And how long was Noah walking around building that ark and warning these people? See, I think it was 100+ years that he prophesying to them, warning them for 100+ years. I forgot the exact time. Let me get this Malachi 4 and 1. It says, "For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, and all that do wickedly," all that say, "We ain't got to keep no laws." The white man said that we can just get rid of the law, and the Lord changed it when he died in Calvary. See, you a liar. It says, "And all that do wickedly shall be stubble, and the day that cometh shall burn them up, says the Lord of hosts, that it shall leave neither root nor branch." So this is what's going to happen to these people, man. They thinking that the Lord going to let them get a pass. So no, this ain't going to, you ain't going to get no pass. No free pass. It's Zechariah 14 and 12. It says, "And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem." Meaning all the people that have fought against the Israelites. He shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword. It says, "Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet." Like on Terminator, where you had the lady hugging onto the fence, and she burning. She burning while she grabbing the fence, and the flesh just rising up, and the bones still hanging on to the fence. See, while she on her feet standing up. That's how these wicked Babylonian Americans is gonna get blow up. It says, "Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth." See, this is how they're going to be destroyed in Babylon the Great. Now, he's not going to burn up everybody. He's burning up these wicked behind people in Babylon. And then these other people, he finna do something to their behind. Let me get that in Isaiah. There's some people that's not going to get destroyed by the nuclear missiles. It's these Babylonian Americans that's going to get that punishment. Now this is Isaiah 24 and 20. Well, let me get 19. It's Isaiah 24 and 19. It says, the earth is utterly broken down. The earth is clean dissolved. The earth is moved exceedingly. So it's going, when these missiles start hitting the earth, it's going to be shaking this whole earth, man. That's what it said in, what was that? We're going to say it right here. Verse 20, it says, the earth shall reel to and fro like a drunken. See, it's going to be like a drunk man. And the missiles starting to hit. Boom, 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 boom. It says, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. Verse 21, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high. I mean, they army. Just like he said in Revelation 19:19. It says, and the kings of the earth upon the earth. See, the beasts and the kings of the earth. See, he's going to be kicking they behind. It says, and they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit. And they shall be set up in the prison. And after many days shall be visited. So these elite, rich, elite trillionaires, billionaires, they're going to get chained up and threw in a pit. They're going to be in them bunkers down there trying to hide in the bunker. See, they're making all kind of underground cities thinking they're going to get away from these nuclear missiles. See, the atomic bomb, that ain't nothing. The nuclear missiles, man, it don't take a lot of them to destroy this place. That's why it's all going to be in one place. And it's probably going to be a hole, so there ain't got to be no hole. Just anything on the surface and under the surface is going to be destroyed because it's got radiation in it. So they're not going to be able to survive the radiation. And you can't make no bunker that's going to be able to hide from the radiation because you're going to need some air. And you can't have no air filter down there. That radiation is going to kick they behind. And because they got the movie called Fallout. I'm thinking it's called Fallout. And in America, they got all these bunkers where they can go hide at when they cause a nuclear holocaust to come and blow everybody up, so their business can prosper. Where's my other one at? Oh, let me get that in the Apocrypha. The spirits created for vengeance. See, the nuclear missiles is created for vengeance. That's why he got these missiles that you ain't gonna be able to run and hide nowhere. This is 39. Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 39, starting at verse 28, it says, there be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction they pour out their force, and appease the wrath of him that made them. 29, fire. See, he gonna bring that fire on these folks, and they ain't gonna be able to hide. And hell, and famine, and death, all these were created for vengeance. Teeth of wild beasts, scorpions, serpents, and the sword. That's the sword represents these nuclear missiles. Punishing the wicked to destruction. See, he made these missiles to blow these people up. I'm going to jump over to 40. It's Ecclesiastes 39, Ecclesiastes chapter 40, verse 9. It says, death, bloodshed, strife, and sword, calamities, famine, tribulation, and the scourge, these things are created for the wicked, and for their sakes came the flood. So he's comparing it to the flood. So that's what he did with Noah. He brought Noah the prophet out, to prophesy and warn these people that a flood is coming. Flood is coming. People talking all this stuff. What you talking about, a flood coming? You talking about this sky daddy, he gonna punish everybody. What you talking about, the flood coming? See, because all that time had went by and they was doing all this wickedness. Let me get that in Ecclesiastes with King Solomon. All they saying, oh man, you talking about all this, we gonna get punished and the Lord gonna punish us. You talking crazy. See, this is what they saying now. Oh, y'all talking about this sky daddy gonna punish somebody. Okay, y'all done lost your mind. This is Ecclesiastes 8, 8 and verse 11. It says, because sentence against an evil work is not executed expediently. It ain't happen real fast. So they're saying, hey man, who is these people talking this stuff? Therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. See, what you talking about? Keep the laws of God. I ain't been keeping no laws, and he ain't done nothing to me yet. See, this is what a wicked behind Negro will say. It says, verse 12, though a sinner do evil 100 times, and his days be prolonged, yet surely I know that it shall be well with them that fear God, which fear before him. But it shall not be well with the wicked, neither shall he prolong his days, which are as a shadow, because he fears not before God. They don't fear God, so they're thinking that they ain't gonna get punished, man. He's thinking they're gonna get a pass. Y'all just fantasizing. Y'all listening to them people that wrote that book. See, who wrote the book? They'll go to saying all kind of ignorant mess because they don't got no fear, because they don't got away. Now this bring out one of my new favorite verses. This is 1 John 4 and let's see here, 4 and 17. It says, here is our love made perfect, that we may have boldness in the day of judgment. See, in the day of judgment, you keeping the Lord's laws, you obeying the Lord. See, then now you can have confidence. What does it say? You can have boldness in the day of judgment, because that the love is gonna do something. And you got to understand love, but this gives you the understanding. It says, because as he is, so are we in this world. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. See, when you keeping the Lord's law on the level that he wants you to keep it, see, then it casts out the fear of judgment. But when you ain't keeping them laws, and you ain't you disobeying him, when the judgment day come, you gonna be scared as I don't know what. It says, this verse 18, 1 John 4 and 18. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear, because fear have torment. he that feareth is not made perfect in love. So you in fear, you fearing you finna get tormented. And why are you fearing you gonna get tormented? Because you being disobedient. See, you being disobedient and hard-headed. So when the punishment comes, you scared to death. And you always wishing and hoping that you ain't finna get your behind kicked. And the Lord ain't gonna give you no pass. This Nahum chapter 1, starting with verse 2. It says, the Most High is jealous, and the Lord revengeth. The Lord revenge and is furious. The Lord will take vengeance on his adversaries, and he's reserved wrath for his enemies. The Lord is slow to anger and great in power, and will not at all acquit the wicked. See, he's not going to give you no pass. See, oh, you know what? I'm going to give you a pass. Wicked, if people been wicked all this time, because they'll go talking about this black, what is it, what they're saying? Man. Black fatigue. They saying they tired of black people talking about the revenge that they supposed to get on their behind. See, the revenge that the Lord gonna give them. See, and why they need revenge, why they want revenge, for the blood of their people. They tired of hearing it. When y'all gonna leave it alone? See, he said, I will not at all acquit the wicked. The Lord have his way in the whirlwind and in the storm. That's why these storms pop out of nowhere, man. Swoop down and kill up 7 people. I seen one of them. They had a tornado or something, killed like 200 people, man. But the Lord, he got his way in the whirlwind, and you think you're going to get away, and people thinking they getting away because they don't know how he killing they behind. He killing you with that tornado, with that hurricane, with that fire in that house. See, with a snake biting your behind. See, you catching fire in the house on a holiday. You dying from eating all that food on Thanksgiving, having a stroke and a heart attack, man. It says, the Lord have his way in the whirlwind and in the storm, and in the clouds are the dust of his feet. So ain't nobody getting away. They swear they getting away because they not dying how they think they supposed to die. Or right as soon as they do the situation, they not dying. But let me get this in Job. See, because people being told that it was just an accident. It was a natural disaster. So you a lie. This is Job chapter 4, starting at verse 7. It says, remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off? See, the righteous ain't being cut off because they got that perfect love. They doing what they supposed to do when it comes to the Lord. Okay. It says, even at verse 8, even as I have seen they that plow iniquity and sow wickedness reap the same. See, you being punished for what you did. You not just, it wasn't an accident. See, it didn't happen by what they call it, coincidence. Now, what was the one I was just gonna get? Well, let me get Proverbs. This is one of my favorite verses. Proverbs 11 Proverbs 17. Proverbs 17 and 11. It says, an evil man seeketh only rebellion. And these American, Babylonian, and these heathen, see, these are the evil men. Watch what he said. He said, therefore, a cruel messenger shall be sent against him. So YAHAWASHI, he gonna be that cruel messenger coming for these Americans, coming from these Babylonians, these Egyptians. See, these Sodom and Gomorrites, he gonna be coming for they behind, man. Let me get 29. It's Proverbs 29, starting at verse 26. Proverbs 29 and 26. It says, many seek the ruler's favor, but every man's judgment come from the Lord. See, he judging they behind. They didn't have no accident. It wasn't it was just a mistake. No. The Lord was orchestrating that whole situation and kicking they behind for the wickedness that they was doing. Let me read that one more time. It says, many seek the ruler's favor, so many gonna seek the Lord's favor and try to do what he say do. Try to obey him. See? It says, but every man's judgment coming from the Lord. So he gonna punish those people that's being wicked. Now this Proverbs 28 and 5, it says, evil men understand not judgment. So they'll try to tell you, oh, that was just an accident. No, that wasn't the Lord killing them because they were doing wrong. See, no, yes it was. Evil men understand not judgment, but they that seek the Lord understand all things. Because he got it right in his word. He's telling you multiple times that he the one raising up these spirits for vengeance. He putting vengeance on these people. These people want to be wicked and hard-headed. He gonna hit them with vengeance. He gonna bring out spirits of vengeance to punish they behind. Okay. Let me get 2 Thessalonians. I think he talks about YAHAWASHI coming for these folks. The 2 Thessalonians, starting with the 2nd chapter, we'll start with verse 1. It says, now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Yahawashi Mashiach, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter as from us, as that day of Mashiach is at hand. So his day is at hand, and he is going to punish these people. It says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come. So he's not going to pop out that sky until these prophecies is fulfilled. It says, except there come a falling away first. The Israelites got to be kicked out of their land and be in the land of their captivity so they can remember the curse, remember that they're going to be in captivity to all the nations. Then they're going to know that they're the Israelites. That got to come first. Okay. Verse 3. I'm in the end of verse 3. It says, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Okay. Who is the son of perdition? He tell you who it is in verse 4. That they showing themselves to be God. They're going to put their image up. See, Caesar BOZRAH. See, they're going to put the image of the Edomites as the Israelites and try to replace the prophets. It says, I'm going to jump down to verse 8 to get right to the point. It says, and then shall that wicked be revealed. That wicked was a nation. King David was always battling with these people, man. He went to the Philistines and he was running from Saul, and Saul had a head Edomite under him. See, he had the so-called white man under his armpits, being a witch and a sorcerer, telling a whole bunch of lies. And King David said, hey man, see, you got this guy with you that's a whole liar. Talking about me and the priest conspiring against him to take him off the throne. See? Then what he said, let me get that Malachi. He says that wicked. Let's go ahead and get it. See? This is Malachi chapter 1, verse 4. It says, whereas Edom says we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus says the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. They shall call them the border of wickedness. See, the beginning and the end of wickedness. This is where wickedness is coming from. It says, and the people against who the Lord have indignation forever. See, this is being revealed. We done went to their Christian church 1,000 years, man, and they never breaking down Malachi, and we never even heard it. First we had to hear it from Apostle Paul. Then he said, it is written, so we go back and see where he got it from. And lo and behold, the nation of Edom is the wicked. See, they the wicked of the earth. They the one taking over Jerusalem. Now, let me get that in Ezekiel. Ezekiel chapter 7. It's another place that YAHAWASHI is going to be going to kick they behind. This Ezekiel 7. I'm going to start with verse 21. It says, and I will give it into the hands of the strangers for a prey, and to the wicked of the earth for a spoil. Who went over there and took that land? Who over there in that land? It says, and they shall pollute it. And over there having alphabet parades, having pride parades, and what do you call it? Tel Aviv. They're over there having all kind of pride parades, man. And they don't deal with the Torah. They mess with the Talmud. See, the Talmud, that's what their religion is. Their religion is not the Torah. So this, in verse 21, verse 24, it says, wherefore I will bring the worst of the heathen, and they shall possess their houses. So the worst of the heathen is in that land. The worst of the heathen don't put their picture up as YAHAWASHI and God and the Israelites and everybody else. See, they always been impersonating. There's one Edomite exposed him. He say, man, when he was talking about the Edom, he tried to talk about them on an isolated situation. He said the nation of Edom, there was a nation that would impersonate everybody around them. See, they would try to steal their identities. And they would try to be a very, deceptive nation. So he describing his whole nation. He don't even know it. But he was kicking the, he was breaking down the characteristics of the nation of Edom like no other. Now it says the worst of the heathen. Let me get the Apocrypha, because the Apocrypha says it's the best. Because these are the people that started Babylon the Great America in 1776 with the Illuminati and these the Rothschild, the Rockefellers, all these elite 13 bloodlines of the Illuminati. See, they over here starting up a constitution and trying to steal this land from the natives. This is three holy children, but it's in the song of the letter or the song of Azariah, and any other kind of book or operation. This is verse 9. It says, and thou did deliver us into the hands of lawless enemies, most hateful, forsakers of God, and to an unjust king, and the most wicked in all the world. See, these people are the most wicked in all the world. This is what we've been going through in Babylon the Great America. See, you don't know, you under the most wickedest people in all the world. And you thinking that these folks gonna give you some reparation. Let's get that in limitation. You thinking they gonna help you out. You thinking you safe. You're in the safe zone. You're in the land of, or you can have a rest. You can get some money and rest. But, I want that Micah and the limitation. Let's get limitation first. Alright, this limitation. So I was right there the whole time. Limitation, I'm going to just get 17. This Lamentation chapter 4, verse 17. It says, as for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. See, they're looking for the wickedest nation to save them. The worst of the heathen, the most wicked in all the world. They want them to save them. Because when you go down, it tells you who this nation is. Verse 21, it says, rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom. Verse 22, it says, the punishment of your iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry you away into captivity or slavery. It says, he will visit your iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover your sins. So they're looking for the nation of Edom to save them. They're looking for the nation of Edom to help them. Can we get some reparation? Because y'all did us wrong. We want some reparation. And see, they'll lie to your behind and tell you, just like they told the Native American, what they had 430 treaties, and they lied to these people. So we're going to give y'all some land. We're going to help y'all out. Put they behind on reservations, man. Now they over there drunk, drinking, what they call it, dishwashing liquor. This is Jeremiah. No, I didn't want Jeremiah. Did I want Jeremiah? Lamentation. No, Isaiah 30. Isaiah 30, it says, I'm going to start with verse 2 to get to the point. It says that walk to go down into Egypt. Because he's talking about the rebellious Israelites. It says that want to go down into Egypt and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. See, the reason it's the shadow of Egypt, just like Apostle Paul said in Romans 9 and 13 and 9 and 17. See, he said, Esau have I hated. Then he said, for this reason have I raised them up. So just like I did Pharaoh. So he's showing you he raised these Edomites up in Rome to rule over Rome as the Edomite Romans. See, and those Edomite Romans, he raised them up to show his power when he destroyed them behind in Babylon the Great America. But what the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, they saying, we looking for the Edomites to save us. We want them to save us, to give us reparation, to not take us, kick us out of their country, back to our country with only 6 million people in it. Verse 3, it says, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame. See, and his strength is, he lets you do whatever you want to do. See, him letting you do whatever you want to do, walk around butt naked on the beach. See, walk around with in the grocery store, man, with some darn drawers on. See, him letting you do what you want to do gonna end up being your shame. It says, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. You jump over to 12. It says, wherefore, thus says the Holy One of Israel, because ye despise this word. See, they despise when we trying to tell them the truth, they despise that crap. So they'll go by and plug their ears, or the Edomites and the other nations will be trying to find out what's going on. What is the Negroes talking about? I wonder what they talking about. But see, the Negroes and the Hispanic, they'll be covering their ears trying not to hear what somebody's saying. It says, because you despise this word and trust in oppression and perverseness and stay thereon. They say we want to stay in our slavery, man. We want to stay under another nation. We don't want our own nation. No, we're going to stay right here. Say, I'm from Detroit. What you talking about? I'm from Israel. I'm from Mississippi. Say, what y'all talking about, man? I'm from right here. I don't know nothing about what you talking about. See, they oppression making their ears closed, and they don't want to hear nothing you got to say. The other nations say, I wonder what them Negroes is talking about. They coming to ask questions. They coming to inquire what's going on. Now let me get Zechariah. I think it's Zechariah 11, because I said it on one of the videos. I want to get it. Zechariah 11 and not 13. Zechariah 9 and 11. Nope. 7 and 11. Let me try that. Yeah, Zechariah 7 and 11. It says, but they refused to hearken and pulled away the shoulder and stopped their ears that they should not hear. See, they gonna walk around and, there go our peoples again talking that stuff. But we trying to get reparations and be nice with the so-called white man and the nation of Edom. See, we want to kiss up to and brown nose the nation of Edom so he can give us some breadcrumbs, man. What y'all sitting around yelling and talking about their kingdom gonna fall, man. We want them to help us. This is the mind of an Israelite. So we can tell by the spirit of the Israelite. Let's go to Romans chapter 8. They try to say, how you know? How you know you're an Israelite? Well, we know, because we know how they act. This is Romans 8 and 16. It says, the Spirit itself bears witness with our spirit that we are the children of God. See, they rebellious. They're a bunch of rebellious Negroes, man. They don't want to hear nothing. They want to suck up to the heathen and be like the heathen. The Israelites always want to be like the heathen. He had to keep punishing them. Why you want to go and be like these heathen? Trying to worship their gods and stuff. The heathen never was trying to chase down the Israelites. They'll come and ask you a question, but they ain't finna do nothing you got to say. And let's get that in Ezekiel. Ezekiel 33. Ezekiel 33. And I'm going to start with 31. It says, and they come unto thee as the people cometh, and they sit before thee as my people, and they hear thy words, but they will not do them, for with their mouth they show much love, but their heart goeth after their covetousness. And lo, thou art unto them as a very lovely song of one that has a pleasant voice. So they go up in them churches, man, and they acting like they're going to be a Bible obedient follower. See, and that's a lie. They're not going to do it. It says, and can play well on the instrument, for they hear your words, but they do them not. And when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come. Then shall they know that a prophet hath been among them. This is what Yahawashai said. He said, you're going to know who the Israelites is, man. Because one thing they're going to be doing that nobody else is going to be doing. What is John 13? Let me see if I can find that. John 13. John 13 and 30. Nope, not John 13. Oh, I'm in 12, so like it is John 13. John 13 and 34. It says, a new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another as I have loved you, that ye also love one another. By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if you have love one to another. So they don't understand what love is. See, they talking about love is somebody just running their mouth. You got to love God and love your neighbor. That's not what love is, man. You got to give the definition. Let's go to Apostle Paul, who gives the definition of love, and not know 1 Corinthians 13. But they'll try to run the 1 Corinthians 13 like that's the only definition. This is Romans chapter 13, verse 8. It says, owe no man anything but to love one another. For he that love another hath fulfilled the law. So this is what they not understanding. That whole law is what love is. You can't be breaking the law against your brother, talking about you love him. You stealing from him, you lying from him, you're stealing his wife, you're trying to kill him. You can't be breaking all the law, talking about you love your brother. And talking about the laws are done away with. Verse 9, it says, for this thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness, thou shalt not covet, and if there be any other commandment. See, any other commandment, that means all of the commandment. See, if you breaking one of them, I don't want to take it there because they try to take that out of context. But if you breaking these laws on your brother, you can't say you love the man and you trying to steal his stuff and hate on him and cover everything he got. So you got to be, all these laws is set up to show you how you supposed to love somebody. That's what it's all about. It says, if there be any other commandment, it is briefly comprehended in this saying, namely, thou shalt love your neighbor as yourself. So he was trying to just give you the way to briefly comprehend and briefly understand. Trying to give you a quick understanding of what love is by just saying love your neighbor, but the whole law is demonstrate how you demonstrate love. Love is a demonstration, not you running your mouth talking about, oh, we love you. But you don't love nothing. You're breaking all the law. You're lying to me, putting a white Jesus. See, talking about the Israelites is done away with. You're a liar. You know, you got all the history books. You know who the Israelites is, man. You jokers just sitting up there lying, and you the devil. It says, what was it? Was that it? Yeah, verse 10, it says, love worketh no ill to his neighbor. See, love ain't gonna be just talking about, oh, that law is done away with. I can lie to him. I can steal from him. YAHAWASHI came and what you call it? Abolish that law. Say, you abolish law. It says, therefore, love is the fulfilling of the law. The love is you demonstrating that law on your peoples, because that's a part of that curse too. in Deuteronomy 28. Well, my battery about to die. Let me close out. Let me get some YAHAWASHI verses on how he coming back to save the Israelites. This is Luke chapter 1, verse 70. It says, as he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we shall be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. Verse 74, that he would grant unto us that we being delivered out of the hand of our enemies, meaning out of the hand of our slavery, might serve him without fear. Now we can do the laws and do it the right way. Because these folks are trying to sneak pork all in your bread, all in your food, try to sneak some defiled food on you. That's why in Ezekiel chapter 4 said we're going to eat defiled bread in the land in our captivity. Now, Matthew, I want to get that Matthew real quick. Matthew 24 and 22, to get right to the point. It says, except those days shall be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved. He's going to have to come back and save us during martial law, during Jacob's trouble, when they trying to exterminate the Israelites. It says, there shall no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. He got to come back for his Israelites. Because they're going to be trying to kill them. They already trying to kill them through the food, through the air, through the water, through abortion clinic. It says, for there shall arise false Christ. That's them putting up false white Jesus, Edomite Jesus, and false prophets, those so-called small hats over there, them ish peoples, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Okay. It says, verse 31, is Matthew 24:31, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from the ends of the heaven, it says, from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Now that's in Revelation. This is the other thing. When he comes to America and destroy it, he's going to deliver the Israelites right before he destroyed this place. But they saying, oh, you saying he's going to destroy America? Well, y'all here, so what he going to do? How y'all going to get it out of there? They know he going to come deliver us. This is Revelation 11 and 12 to get to the point. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud. That's that big chariot he was flying on. And their enemies beheld them. See, saved from their enemies. All the holy prophets was prophesying how he was going to save the Israelites from their enemies. Verse 13, it said, the same hour was there a great earthquake. See, right here in Babylon the Great. And the 10th part of the city fell. See, these 10 sections of America is going to be broken to 10 pieces. It says, and in the earthquake was slain of men 7,000. Everybody in Babylon who don't get beamed up in them chariots is going to burn by nuclear fire. It says, and the remnant was affrighted and gave glory to the God of heaven. So we're going to be looking out of them chariots, looking at this place burning. Let me get that in 15. This Revelation 15 and 1 is about 15 and 2 to get to the point. And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast and over his image and over his mark. Talking about the M-O to the T to the B. They're going to try to turn the Israelites into cyborg, turn everybody into cyborg, so they can identify who the chosen is. Because the chosen is not going to take it, and they're not going to have to take it ever. So that's how they're going to identify them when they try to implement that C-hip, see, that slave device. It says, and over his mark and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the 7 hearts. So they're going to be looking down at Babylon the Great America, burn, seeing them nuclear missiles hit, boom, boom, boom. They're going to be in the sky. Okay? So that's how, when he comes, the Israelites is not going to die with these Americans. See? And the one that is so in love with these Americans, they're not going to die with these people. They're going to get beamed up and turned into immortal. That's why they have all these immortal movies, the X-Men and all these people with superpowers, because the Israelite was prophesied to have superpowers and to be immortals. That's why the Jewish people that's making these movies, that's why they putting it in there, because they read the Bible. They read the Bible and said, oh, the Israelites is going to be immortals? The house of David is going to be immortals? Yes. Not just a Christian running his mouth. Somebody that done went through slavery, man, and their family done been slaughtered. This is who is going into them chariots. This is who is going to have immortality and live forever. Not a heathen who ain't went through what we went through. But they going to go through something when we put them in captivity. Now, it was another one I was thinking about, but my battery about to go dead. Let me end it right here. I'm going to end it there. I'm going to give all praises to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Double honor to the elders pushing the truth. Peace to the elect worldwide. Our kingdom is that, well, the elect is the blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, the descendants of slaves scattered around the globe on slave ships and through many captivities. Our kingdom is at hand. Shalom.